Person in custody for the CEO shooting. Live coverage. Let's tune in. Cave Dweller.
Person of interest in the shooting that shook our city last week. CEO Brian Thompson of UnitedHealthcare was the victim of a senseless act of violence. Our officers have been working around the clock. Many of them did not go home to pursue this individual. It was crucial that we were able to remove him off the streets of America, and we were going to seek him out no matter where he was
going to get caught.
time. And so this is a strong person of interest. The police commissioner and chief of detectives will go over where we are right now in the investigation. He matches the description of the identification we've been looking for. He's also in possession of several items that we believe will connect him to this incident. Yeah. How did we do it? Good old-fashioned police work. The chief of detectives and the police commissioner made the decision to release as much of a photo that we had at the time. We sent it across the country, and someone, a McDonald's employee, did something we ask every American to do. If you see something, say something, but most importantly, do something. And they did. And because of that, we believe we have a strong person of interest to deal with this case. I want to now turn it over to the police commissioner of the city of New York, Commissioner Tisch.
Police commissioner. You're the police commissioner of New York is like Gotham City.
Earlier this morning in Altoona, Pennsylvania, members of the Altoona Police Department arrested Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old male, on firearms charges. At this time, he is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen targeted murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of UnitedHealthcare, last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan. The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police. Responding officers questioned the suspect, who was acting suspiciously and was carrying multiple fraudulent IDs as well as a U.S. passport. Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset. NYPD detectives are en route to Pennsylvania as we seek to interview the subject further. This apprehension is thanks to the tireless work of the greatest detectives in the world, and of course, the strong relationships we have with our local law enforcement partners on every level, local, state, and federal.
He thought this was Black Ops or something. Like he just was going to do a hitman in 2024.
All serve the same public safety mission. And this case,
he thought he was agent number 47
of an entire nation, is another example of how connected we are and how important it is to work together, share information, and pursue every lead. For just over 5 days, our NYPD investigators combed through thousands of hours of video, followed up on hundreds
he looked different. He looked different enough that somebody might not have known him, like he was trying to grow a beard or something.
Processed every bit of forensic evidence, DNA, fingerprints, IP addresses, and so much more to tighten the net. We deployed drones, canine units, and scuba divers. We leveraged the domain awareness system, Argus cameras, and conducted aviation canvasses. And our detectives also went door to door, interviewing potential witnesses and doing the good old-fashioned police work that our investigators are famous for. This combination of old school detective work and new age technology is what led to this result today. And we must also acknowledge the instrumental role the media and the public played in this case. The images that we shared with the public were spread far and wide, and the tips we received led to the recovery of crucial evidence. We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations. This is the third time in 3 weeks that a member of the public has seen something and said something and done something that led to a high-profile arrest. The triple stabbing homicide in Manhattan, the gunpoint robberies in Queens during which an NYPD officer was shot, and now this. Now, the case will continue through the criminal justice process. And while we are proud of today's accomplishment, we must, of course, remember that a family is in mourning. I want to again extend my sympathies to Brian's family, his co-workers, and all who knew him. Finally, I want to thank the women and men of the NYPD, especially our Detective Bureau personnel, with a strong assist from our intelligence analysts. We also thank the SAC of the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division, Leslie Rodriguez-Bekshies. And I want to commend the staff of the Manhattan DA's office, and especially DA Alvin Bragg. He has been working with us 24/7 on this case, and I am incredibly grateful for his partnership. I'll now pass it along to our great Chief of Detectives, Joe Kenny, who will provide additional information. Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. As the Commissioner stated earlier, a male was taken into custody today in Altoona, Pennsylvania this morning. He has been identified as Luigi Nicholas Mangione. He's a male, 26 years old. He was born and raised in Maryland. We know he has ties to San Francisco, California, and his last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii. He has no prior arrest history in New York. Members of the NYPD Detective Bureau are currently traveling to Pennsylvania with members of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to interview this subject. This case was brought to a successful conclusion based on the coordinated effort between numerous NYPD units, including the Intelligence and Counterterrorism Bureau, our federal partners at the FBI, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and of course, members of the Altoona Police Department in Pennsylvania. On Thursday, one day after this crime was committed, the NYPD released a photo of the shooter in this case. This picture was obtained by the NYPD during one of their extensive video canvasses. We took that photograph and we asked for the public's help in identifying this subject, and the public responded. Hundreds of tips began to pour into our hotline. Each tip was investigated thoroughly, and we began to release additional photographs as they came into our possession. The NYPD provided these photos to numerous media.
Income, working class people. Really want to thank Senator Leroy Comrie. Health issues. 51% have mental health issues. That's why my call of using one of the 4 jails that we're opening to turn it into a state-of-the-art psychiatric facility.
I think he's just taking questions, probably lying to reporters, but let's listen.
We could do a better job, and we could do better resources, and it can't be waiting until these incidents happen, then everybody stands up and says something's wrong. We need to stand up before something happens.
Hi, Mayor.
How are you, Emily?
Good. When you meet with Tom Homan this week,
Yes.
Are you planning to talk with him about migrants who are living in the shelter system? And do you plan to express anything to him about the threats of deportation, about your concerns about people who are here who are law-abiding?
We're going to have a host of conversations, but at the root of my conversation is how do we secure our border. I want to share some of my strategies. We need a real decompression strategy. It's important to go after those who are committing serious crimes, particularly those dangerous gangs that have come from Venezuela, and now we're finding them on the streets of our country. And I'm interested to hear his ideas on how we're going to go about that, and I'm excited about the conversation.
He might be actually trying to mature into a good politician, a good mayor. Oh, we'll see what we have in store for Eric Adams. But you know, on the CEO part, man, really, God bless that man's family for what happened to him. Even if his company has the largest rate of no's and denials in the healthcare system. Like, and that's comparing their number, because they are one of the biggest. So when you say like they deny a lot, you got to do that in comparison to how many people they have in members, and even compared to that, I forgot the number, but I know it was crazy. I was watching PBD and I was listening to them. It was crazy. So you can see how somebody could go crazy in this healthcare system. But for him, that no change of clothes was crazy. Like, how you don't change your clothes? Shout out to that McDonald's employee for doing the right thing, I guess. But for him, like, he thought he was going to get away. Like, he tried to get, if he would have made it back to Hawaii, he probably would have never found him. But they did. Let me know what y'all think, man. That's crazy. World we live in.